pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get started this evening, it's been brought to my attention that there are some new people that have been coming to the meetings the last couple of our meetings. And what we'll do just real quickly is introduce ourselves so everyone knows who we are sitting on the Lynn Advisory Board.
I'm Mary Jane Kinney, I'm the secretary.
I'm Steve Hopkins. Mr. Powers, I'm the chairman of the board.
John Mass, alternate. Jody Wonderman.
First of all, our session tonight is what we're considering to be a working session, so we can work through some things that we haven't really been able to get done, partially due to we've been getting the public comments, which we certainly have taken in and we need to hear, and we'll be hearing again on Monday evening. Due to that fact, and because the last meeting we did have an hour and a half of public comments, and we're going to be opening this up for total public comments on this coming Monday, we're not going to have any public comments this evening. We need to work through some things here tonight, and then we'll be prepared for that meeting, and then for whatever the next meeting may bring. But tonight we're just going to be doing a working session. The first order of business this evening is to talk about the wind overlay. As we mentioned the last meeting, the previous wind overlay map that we were under the impression we thought was had been officially approved back in 2011 has not been. So we need to discuss whether or not we want to go with the previous wind draft, and this is what the advisory board. Just our recommendation to the town board as to what we feel should be the overlay map to be considered for the town of Hopkins. And I won't let any discussion be made. Certainly.
They're considering adding blue line.
Correct.
Why all the wood line? Is it feasible to put down on the wood line? Because basically, from 72 back to Parkland, well, there's only that one farm, you have the Fulton farm, you like associated farm, the rest are all wood. And, I'm just curious why they would want to add that section.
Hey, my understanding is, and I'm for kind of needed a decision on that they needed, they're finding that for the restrictions that we have put in, that they needed a larger area to be able to possibly put things down. I mean, I'll come out with my actual thought at this moment myself, is I think at the moment right now, I'd like to just consider staying with the previous wind map that we've got. And then, I mean, we are open, the way we have written in our minutes, or in the new town law, and I believe it was in the old as well, is that this is open to discussion at any time. We could always revisit the overlay map at any time. And then, it can be revisited, we can decide to do a different one at that time, and then go from there. But that's my opinion at this point. This is where my mind is thinking myself.
As far as putting it in the area, I probably can't be real issue with that. If there is a practicality of putting it in on the remote area away from people's homes. So I can see that it makes sense.
I mean, obviously, and I think also too, some of the areas they'd be looking at is the Whiskey Class State Forest, and that's also another area as well. But yeah, at this point in time, I mean, I think until we can, and we don't have to officially make a decision on this evening. I mean, we can speak to that. We don't make a decision on the overlay.
And they would put state forest.
That,
What would
Yeah.
Whiskey Class State
Forest,
Forest.
State Forest.
And if you want for the map.
And actually, it's not, it actually is, I was saying that, because actually the green line is where it is. So it actually can't be going to see what that one. Yeah. I mean, I think that's what it is, I think that's another piece of this, is that we really need to do probably some investigation into specifically what areas, we are allowed to go into.
I don't believe it's allowed in state.
Yeah.
I mean, is there a bridge or a criteria that we?
I think that's probably, yeah, definitely, I think probably the county setting would be one that we will help select over that as well. That way you spoke over that there.
He really wasn't much help. Not in that department.
No, okay. So, you know, they might be able to send us to the right people that we would need to talk to, you know. Yeah,
Maybe that word.
so that certainly would be a big piece of
Yeah.
that.
I mean, I have a concern, besides state line, with being anywhere near the Adirondack Park. This my own personal view. I don't think it's appropriate to have them within a couple miles of the park. I know there's a lot of issues about town and other things, but, I'm concerned about even being within view of that rail.
I do know that, from some information that Mary Ann had gotten from the state, from the Economy Board, that they don't know specific guidelines about the setting up the window, but obviously, we have in the wind law, specific guidelines as to where they can go when they're actually doing it. At that point, that's an investigate wetland and issues such as that. But the window overlay, that is a big piece of that. But I think there are certainly some other issues that we need to be able to delve into a little bit more before we can make a decision one way or the other.
Also, we're still working on the second, our new revised law here.
Correct.
With various kinds of restrictions, because I'm still on pretty critical, and I would be more comfortable actually voting on an overlay once I knew what the law said and what the town board had said, frankly. I mean, it's big issues about assessment. We spent 2,500, and I see Periscope got that currently not in any but, you know, they may get that shorter or not.
What she just showed me, though, they had 1.5 hour,
Would you like,
750
Yeah.
would you like me to read it?
Yes, that's why we're doing that.
That was kind of a suggestion, because with our setback, no matter where we come, with our, probably not be able to put a tower.
I got a question on that.
In reality, page 21. Mind you, this is just their draft, and they do have draft on it.
Right.
Okay, the first one was 500 feet, or 1.5 times the tower height, which is greater, from the nearest non-participating boundary.
That's 750.
They went with the same 500 or 1.5 times the tower height from the nearest public road. Okay, this is their proposed town law for parish. 500 feet or 1.5 times the tower height from the edge of the wind overlay zone. 2,500 feet from the nearest residence. Which we have. That's
Yeah,
kind of similar. 1.5 times the tower height from any above ground utility or non-wet structure. And 500 feet from any state identified wetlands or body of water.
I have a question on that. We've already decided what we told the 2,500 foot, 500 foot house, correct?
That's what we've written.
That's what
As I read this article that they wrote, they do not know what tower they're gonna put up, what serial number, model number, anything. Should we change ours to, and we're at right now, 5 times height of the tower. Should we change it to a ratio, so if they put a 700 foot tower in?
They can't
we're
put a
covered?
700 foot tower in. We have a maximum in the law of 500.
Yeah, we've got
What's
that.
to say they can't get a 500 foot tower? Or they do.
Plan, I thought that's what we were kind of.
But I'm saying we should cover our mouth. Things change. That's my question.
What prompted them to drop that setback?
They didn't really drop theirs. I mean, if you go back to our original, they're not too far from the original setback, so I mean, our original zoning. And Jason's comment was that they in regards to what the event was, nothing specific other than, he's never seen the real property agreement fly in any of the town laws. That's why I suggested some changes, and I have seen them, so if it's something that we could get to a point where it could be left in, I'd like to see it. Whereas the other thing is that some of your setbacks would be basically shot down by the state as being non-defendable, non-usable. Jason said,
County, Sheldon. Oh, no, that's fine, yeah.
he didn't say specifically, he just said something.
Right.
So if you look at this, which was like the original, it's the 600 that was originally in the town law that we
Right.
have working on revisions. The lines are really accurate, and they're a little wider, but, you know, put it at 4 times would be 24, 4 times 6. You imagine that line 4 times out there, and with the intersecting roads, literally nothing can be fixed. I mean, I believe some of the setbacks are, like I said, they could be shot down.
Yeah.
He's just beyond. But he said it's entirely up to your town to do what they want to and not make any changes.
Has there been a record of anybody being shot out? Because I know like Hammond said a mile shot out, and they were shot out.
They never went. The company pulled out before they went. I talked to the supervisor the other night.
So it never went to the town.
Well, it never went to the town, they passed the law, but it never proceeded past there. Sorry, no, no.
Do we have any record of any other towns in the state?
With higher setbacks.
Yeah.
I want to. I have some lower. Categories are lower. A lot of towns are lower.
Any of them shot down? You know?
I don't know. I mean, Chatham has, but.
What did Chattagay say? Well,
Not farming, I've got a little, something about Chatham.
I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
meant to go that low.
Yeah.
But I think certainly one that the restriction should be revisited. I mean, it's entirely up to you, but when you make that map and you put those setbacks on there, literally nothing can go in there. Next coverage.
has anybody reached out to the state to get any kind of feedback, to get any kind of assistance at all in this matter? I mean,
Yeah, no, I haven't, and I'm not sure Frank has, you know, previously.
I'm just curious,
Yeah, I'm
what-
not sure how much the first, doing the first.
I mean, we're making a lot of assumptions both ways
Yeah.
about what they're gonna do. Just.
I don't think anybody's actually gone through the Article 10 citing process.
Because, I mean, we're making a lot of assumptions, one way or the other. And the problem is, you don't want to do something that's going to immediately get shut down.
Right.
So if we have to compromise something that will get us more than
Right.
we want to go with something that we can live with and
Yeah.
not go too far and just have it overruled.
Correct.
Because then we're going to get stuck with whatever we get.
Exactly, that's been our,
You know, I mean, if the state has the final word on this, maybe we should reach out to them.
Well, I don't think technically they get the final word. it's like Jason said, it's deemed reasonable, defendable.
Who deems that?
I don't know.
I guess that's what I mean.
That's what it
like-
comes down to, is, yeah.
I know a little bit about Article 10, I could tell you if you'd like. I'm Robin McClellan.
Go ahead, sir.
So-
That'd be helpful.
So the way Article 10 works is there's a siting board, there'll be 2 local members, there'll be a bunch of people from the state. And so what the language says in Article 10 about local laws is that if they're unreasonable, and this is very vague language, and nobody knows what unreasonable is, then that issue could be, or that particular regulation could, or part of the law, could be overruled by the state. It's not gonna, I don't believe it's gonna overrule the whole law. It also isn't something they're gonna do easily. It's not gonna be good for their PR to override local laws. So I would encourage you not to think about that, about trying to stay inside some sort of parameter that we don't really know about for your local laws. Let's stick with your local laws the way you want them read.
He said that, Jason did say that.
Yeah, Jason and I worked on this issue a little bit before, and I think that's a good thing to do, is just write your law the way you want to write your law, and let the state, it's going to take a crack at it. I wouldn't try to figure them out.
I think we should leave it.
I think we should leave the way we've gone. I mean, we think it's reasonable. We have some reasons for it.
This takes us back to the overlay. As I say, my initial feeling is that we don't have to make a decision on that right away. The way we have it written in our new law, if it's passed, is something that still could be done and still could be reviewed and.
Let me ask a question, kind of go back to last week. What does it mean right now that we do not have a wind overlay district?
I don't believe it's an issue at the moment.
That mean
That's why I
anything?
said
I
I
mean,
don't believe we have to have it in place at the moment, if I am correct. From my reading, from what I've seen.
I think you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we need to have one, but I think we don't have to have one, that's why I'm saying, I don't think we need to make.
I guess what I'm asking, does the establishment of the wind overlay district govern who the wind company can and cannot approach as far as leases or anything?
Yeah.
We've already done that.
Yeah.
But if we change it, that will change that status, if it changes it. I guess that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Because there has to be a reason we've established this.
They didn't establish
Yeah,
it.
that's the problem, they did.
There's no,
There has to be a reason that they meant to establish this.
Yeah, exactly.
And it has to govern something. Because if it doesn't, then why do it? And that dictates who they can and cannot talk to, then changing it is going to affect
Yeah, that would avoid.
property owners that have already entered into leases.
Right. Avoid those leases.
And I guess, we need to know, I think we need to know that.
Yeah.
For both sides. I mean, if we're gonna change a wind overlay that's gonna nullify a lease that somebody has already signed, and it's gonna affect them negatively in a financial way, that's not, we have to know if that's gonna happen. In either case, because essentially if we expand it, we're now opening up everybody knows property here to be approached.
Right.
But we're also eliminating anybody that's been approached here. You're gonna nullify a legal contract they've signed. Or not, I don't know, I guess that's what I'm asking, does it do that?
Can't know because they don't disclose the lease.
Yeah, they.
But those leases are on file with the county. They are public record. You can see who has signed the lease. And if somebody in this district right here has signed a lease, and now we are putting a law into effect that says that is no longer eligible, then that person's legal contract is void. And I mean, or maybe it's not, but I don't know what that means.
Exactly.
And if, above all else, that could be opening us to lawsuit. If we're now establishing a wind overlay that's going to violate a legally filed contract.
I don't think so.
It was never in there, south of 72, where's the overlay?
They're
breaking the law, not us.
There is that.
Overlay.
Yeah.
I mean,
We already have that.
there's not any legal overlay.
Right.
Which you said last meeting.
I think that's true, but
Yeah.
the fact of the matter is, there's contracts in place
If
already.
they made those contracts, we didn't make them. The town didn't make them.
Just saying, like,
Yeah.
it still is gonna have an impact. And I understand what you're saying now, that there actually isn't one, so it wouldn't have effect on us.
Right.
However, it's going to
It
have
would be,
effect.
it would be
agreed.
great to know, all the legal ramifications. I agree with
I think
that.
this is something that, yeah, I'll talk with Sue, and it's something we need to go to the lawyer about and find out, because
Because if the overlay we establish either, essentially at this point, leaves out people who have signed leases under the auspice that they thought there was an established wind district, because let's be honest, we all thought that, then there will be some ramification from that in some form or another, and I think we need to understand that before moving forward.
agreed.
Just one comment, you might want to be careful about thinking, if this was the case, wind companies could come in and have leases, could sign leases, and then you would be, and would force you to build a window overlay zone that did that. So I think that you're probably not going to be legally liable. You're certainly going to be liable in the court of certain public opinion, but you are used to that by now.
But I guess my point is the fact that this process has begun under the premise that this was established. We have discovered that it was not established, and now we're attempting to reestablish after steps have been taken. We need to know the legal ramification of that. Period. I think that's something that a lawyer or someone who knows a lot more about these things than I do needs to
Or
know.
there's any of us.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things with the Tucker being a volunteer group, we're learning this as fast as everyone as well. And we're just trying to do the best. we
And I don't mean to sound that to the negative or the positive
No,
of the project,
no.
but it has ramifications.
No question.
Because especially since I know these leases are on file at the county, like these are attached to properties.
Right.
They've been recorded, so this is on people's deeds. You do a title search, it's gonna come up. What does that mean?
Right.
Well, as far as us building the zone, in all reality, that, what they've done is what they've done.
Right.
Right.
And I didn't mean to insinuate that it would be on us, and I misspoke when I said that. But you know what, like, we're now making a recommendation to establish a zone that's essentially predicated on the fact that there already was one, and there wasn't.
And there wasn't, exactly. So that'll be the tough investment for.
Really, 'cause we need to know, what does it mean that there isn't one, and that there's already leases in place?
So I think that was, that to.
I think we need to talk to the lawyer. I think we need legal advice on that.
No question.
Can I ask
Certainly.
in general that, I mean, as far as opinion wise, the project goes, as we're building this, and they propose that expansion. Does anybody on the board have objection to it, or an opinion in regards to it?
I have no objection. Okay.
I'm not, I won't say I'm totally against that, I'm still investigating. I'm leaning to right now, just keeping it with the old until we could do more, check more information, but I think at this point we don't even need to do that. I think we can,
I don't think so.
I don't think we
Until
need to make that decision right now.
Okay.
Okay, so that'll pass that over for right now, and we'll decide, when we decide on our next meeting, which I think might be at least a month away after next week. We'll see. We'll have to see how long it takes to do some investigation. And I'll leave that open to do some more investigation of that. But we
Just don't want to make a recommendation.
Yeah. Oh, no, agreed, agreed.
I think it should be something that is done after we finalize, as far as
Yeah.
the law.
Yeah, I agree.
I think
I agree.
you know what long we time down there, because that's have decisions about where things are.
In the way our proposal, well, reads, it does need to be in place at that point.
Correct.
I
I
agree
read
to do
that.
that, reading that over the other night, so. Okay, so we we'll pass over that for the moment. We do want to talk about the noise monitoring section that we talked about, it's kind of rewritten. On page 24. This again was kind of the investigative work by Mary Jane and her writing ability. We'll go ahead and read the new section. Upon the issuance of a permit for a WEP, and as a condition thereof, the applicant shall, within 90 days, submit to the town a proposal for sufficient remote noise monitoring stations on site to comply with this local law. The long-term noise monitoring system would be accessible remotely through a dedicated website, and data would clearly demonstrate compliance or non-compliance with the noise limits set forth by this local law, allowing authorized websites users to view sound levels real-time and correlate. Okay, this is where there were a couple.
Yeah, that's why I invited you.
Oh,
You just need to switch those two words with the.
Yeah. As well as review data and sound records from the previous 12 months. Proposal. The proposal for long-term monitoring stations shall include, but not limited to, the location of the monitoring stations and the basis for the sites chosen, the name, contact information, and credentials of the consultant who prepared the proposal for the applicant, and the name and the contact information for the applicant's consultant sound professional, if different. A detailed description of the equipment and capabilities of the equipment proposed for the monitoring station, including power sources. A plan for regular and emergency maintenance, replacement, or repair of the equipment comprising the monitoring system. A timeline for installation and testing of the capabilities of the stations, including field visits by professionals acting on behalf of the town. The establishment of an escrow fund or identification of an existing fund to which any related costs incurred by the town shall be made, including but not limited to the cost of reviews of the proposal, the cost of review of data and sound records of long-term monitoring, non-consultant fees, and attorney fees. A recommendation assuring regular communication and periodic review of the long-term monitoring system and data and audio records between the town, the applicant, and/or their sound consultants. Proposed data collection methods, trigger levels for audio records, retention time for both data and audio records, provisions for quarterly summary reports to the town. A predetermined plan for long-term monitoring once the wind energy facility is operational, and actions that will be taken by the applicant to moderate or cease operation of any WEX should the long-term monitoring demonstrate non-compliance with the sound limits set forth by this local law. Approval. Final approval of the long-term monitoring proposal and installation shall rest with the town board. The town board, after review by a sound consultant, may require modifications to the proposal or to the location of the monitoring stations. The town board, in its own discretion, may direct the closure of a monitoring station if it deems such station unnecessary after recorded data shows compliance with the noise limits set forth by this local law over an extended period of time. Sound everyone. Look at that. That was a nice one.
Pretty close to what was said out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was.
Yeah. What page is that?
Adding to setbacks, the next one, under adding in.
Oh,
Once this is sent to the public service, the New York State Division of Historical Preservation, won't have it.
right.
Inspect all of it.
So it would be the insertion of number 6 in the setback. Number 6. Setbacks are 25 and 26. Proposed to add in a number 6 under the above ground utilities, as in we're going with the 2,500 feet for the setback from any registered historical site, which will basically the Hopkinton Green, where we are, is a national historical site.
Right.
So, as far as
you had one other area?
Yeah, changes to the real property value protection agreement. Page 26. According to Jason, it won't get into any town.
Oh, okay.
It's up to our town as to whether or not they want to try it.
Right, yeah.
The suggested changes that I, comments that were made, and of course, that fine line between reasonable and dependable, and, I decreased the area to be 1 mile, and I did it from each wind energy conversion system
Okay.
to be eligible. Instead of 1 mile, that was eligible.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Then going down to 1, making it so that it was originally 10 years just from the approval of an application. And I'm aware that these towers don't go up overnight.
Right.
So I had changed it to be applicable to when the wind energy conversion system comes operational. So I did, if a property owner wants to use this option, or exercise this option, they must do so within 5 years of, I call it qualifying WEC becomes operational. Qualifying WEC is a wind energy conversion system that is within 1 mile of the property of the owner exercising this option.
Yep. Yes.
I changed number 5 and number 8. Number 8 was, once again, it had to do with the time limit.
Yeah.
So I did the same 5 years following the final WEC becoming operational. And number 5 had to deal with a comment that Jason mentioned in our phone conversation as far as maintaining property. So I rewrote 5 to be that the property owner of record as of the date of the wind energy facility approval will be required to have had an appraisal performed by a licensed appraiser within 5 years of the date on which the option is exercised. The property owner must reasonably maintain the property from that time until they choose to elect this option and will be required to provide the supporting documentation. Put in there to kind of help against property decline intentional.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the supporting documentation?
Well, I would say as far as the definitely would be the appraisal. If you had anything like improvements done, added a structure, had your property lot cut, stuff like that, they may, I mean, most of us probably keep some of that documentation anyway. Those might be things that are relevant, that might need to be produced if there has been a significant change in the property.
I'm
Do you
good.
think anything should be listed more specifically than
I
that?
don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just pretty vague, you know?
Suggestions, I don't know, it's a long time.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
I know. I'm trying to
Yeah.
think how to make it more specific.
Yeah, it really could be.
I mean, you could even say something required to provide supporting documentation of any change that could reasonably affect the value of the property. Either way,
Yeah.
you know, if the house burns down,
We got
that
that.
affects,
Oh, certainly, and then
you know,
no.
anything that can be reasonably deemed, supporting documentation of anything that can be reasonably deemed to affect the value of the property, fair market value of the property.
else that I looked at and thought that they might want to revisit.
I think the other stuff, I
And we've vetted through, several times and made all our. And I think at this point too, when the lawyers obviously are gonna be coming back at some point, and if we could get something back from them possibly before we make our final decision, that would be helpful. I'd like to try to have as clean a law as we can to pass to the town
I
board.
think this is pretty clean. I mean,
I agree, you know.
Can I ask about a real small minor change?
Oh, certainly.
Not the one. On page 11, and this carries through, I guess, into the small X section.
Oh,
It's a suggestion that I made, but really didn't pursue it later, is to have a minimum kilowatt on small X. And I've done research, like a home, usually that would require anywhere from like, say, a 5 to a 10 kilowatt system. My guess, the reasoning behind this is there are small seasonal locations that people own. We were one of them, we took that down, that may want to use this as a small energy source. And looking at that, if you have a $1,000 camp on a piece of property, you're not going to go through all of this to put up a little wind generation tower. I mean, put it this way, there was probably nobody in the town that knew we had them. And they did this very, very well at the time, money at 4. But my suggestion is to leave a minimum of 5 kilowatts, which would, for most homes, would require this permit. But if somebody was doing like a camp in the middle of nowhere. that
So
they
what
would
you're
be able
saying is
to use
anything
the
below
small-
that would not require this
Correct.
process?
Right.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the size that would be.
Would you also want to include those that are tied to the grid? That's another way of talking about the remote camp.
Right,
That
right.
might be another way to work that.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that, 'cause this is, I mean, to put up a small one is a pretty arduous process.
Yeah, and what we.
To go through this, I would never do it.
Yeah, yeah.
And up to that size.
Yeah. I mean, they have their benefits in that application. I would never want them to have them at home, but they have a pretty big unit.
Well, unless anyone has anything else, and I think at this point, we'll adjourn this meeting. We'll have to be having a meeting on Monday evening until I have a chance to meet with, a lawyer to discuss, and whomever else, they may suggest that I talk to concerning overlaying that issue. We'll set up another meeting at that point, so it might be, I would say probably, at least probably a month's time. I think at this point, there's not a huge rush anyway, so I think we'll, and it could be sooner than that, depending on how that decision comes. But, if you'll send us copies of the update that actually,
Copy this through as soon as you want. We're all in agreement, we don't say do it
Yeah.
once, but as soon
Yeah,
as everybody
yes.
agrees.
yeah, we'll adjourn to the board.
So we're meeting Monday?
And Monday night is 7 o'clock.
Yep.
And this will be totally for our public comments. And, just a reminder too, also to everyone that, everyone's going to be here the next day on Tuesday, from 2 to 4 and 6 to 8.
Did we establish any kind of guidelines for Monday meeting?
I had worked through,
I think there should be some semblance of
Yeah.
structure, just to
No, I agree.
keep it flowing.
yeah, what I was hoping to do maybe is, We would look at having each individual have an opportunity to speak for 5 minutes. We've been doing 3 previously, giving them 5 that evening. I do want to try, because this is to the town of Hopkins, and the town of Hopkins residents speak first. And then any residents that may be here from the town of Perishville, and then other speakers would also be allowed. Obviously, I don't want to be here for 5 hours, but our hope would be we keep it that way at least for the first hour. After, if we do go beyond an hour, we'll reserve the right to limit 3 minutes instead of 5. That would be kind of my thought, at that point. But we certainly, we can play that by ear. But I think giving the people, each of the people 5 minutes to speak, that's, at the last meeting, most of the people didn't even take their full 3 minutes when they were speaking. But I think if they each have 5 minutes, then.
I just was curious.
Yeah.
Some kind of structure
Yeah,
would be good.
I think that should work.
Might I suggest a sign-up sheet?
Certainly.
If you
Well,
want to speak,
yeah.
your name and where you live, even if it's just the town, just so we can kind of,
That certainly would, that is a good idea. That's a good idea. We certainly could do that. Definitely.
just kind of keep it flowing.
Definitely, definitely.
How many town residents or board members that we can,
I don't
you know,
know.
staff?
Yeah, I don't know.
Unless anything was maybe. Anyway, because the public laws out there, I would really just for them. Just our public opinion, they have to go through their hearings as well.
I think the town board members should be required to be here. This is a very important meeting.
I can't require them to be in any meeting.
You can ask them.
I can ask them. but I'm
Yeah,
not
they've
required.
been asked. We know, my understanding is I know that these two will be here. But I mean, the town board meetings, they're going to be having their own hearings and they will be in attendance of those. Very good. Anything else? Thank you very much for your time. Thank you folks for being with us tonight. We will see you on Monday evening.